It was 6 in the morning, and she had just left. He even offered to take her home, but she said it was better to go by Uber. She didn't want her husband to see her arriving home with another man. It seemed like an incomprehensible logic for what had happened, but why was he trying to find logic where it didn't exist? As soon as she left, he poured himself a generous shot of whiskey, which he took with him to the bathroom to take a shower. After 3 hours of having sex with this woman in a completely primal way, he needed a shower to wash the sweat off his body. Nothing about that night had been tender or attentive. He had simply used her, as he had never used anyone before. Not that she seemed bothered. Quite the opposite, the smile she had when she left and the kiss she gave him to say goodbye told him she had enjoyed it a lot. As for him, under different circumstances, it would have been a dream night. But under different circumstances, it would have been Marie there instead of, and that's when he realized he didn't even know her name. He stepped out of the long shower, got dressed, and headed to the garage. He looked at the travel bags neatly arranged there, chose 2 that he thought would work, and dragged them to the bedroom, where he began methodically packing his clothes and personal items that he knew he would need. He left behind the clothes she had bought to him. It was 8:30 in the morning when he finished the task. He took a walk around the house, mentally reviewing to see if he had forgotten anything. Not seeing anything he wanted to take with him, he went to the office, packed his laptop, and opened the desktop PC case, taking out the hard drive, which he also kept. Then he made a phone call, knowing today might be a complicated day, but he had to try. A familiar and friendly voice answered. "Alex, what's up? Calling me at this hour on a Saturday? Did you fall out of bed?" "Hey Paul, to be honest, I was waiting so I wouldn't wake you up. I haven't gone to bed yet." "So you haven't fallen out of bed, but you're about to onto it." "I don't know, at least not for now." "But why did you call?" "Hey, is that position in that hellhole in the Middle East still open?" "It is. And it won't be easy to find someone. No one wants to go there. And when do you need someone?" "Yesterday." "But why do you ask? The position comes with a good raise, right?" "Dude, Alex, are you having a problem? Look, if you need anything." "No, man. What I really need is a change of scenery." "But are you interested?" "Yes." "When do you want me there?" "Yesterday." "And when can you go?" "Today." There was a silence on the line. "Alex, is something going on?" "Nothing important." "And you're really serious?" "Without a doubt." "Then let me make a few calls, and I'll call you back." And they hung up. He went to the kitchen and turned on the coffee maker. Although he wasn't sleepy, with images sliding through his mind, plans and conjectures, the truth was that he felt tired, and old. There was no doubt this night had aged him at least 10 years. He ironically thought that, in the end, Fridays that start badly always end worse, and this one, despite having promised not to be like that, ended up being the worst of all. This Friday insisted on not ending and would probably still be long, even though it was already Saturday. He decided to put something in his stomach, even though he didn't have an appetite. He ate a toast accompanied by a glass of milk, made himself a coffee, and was drinking it when his phone rang. He answered. "Yeah. Good morning, love." He heard the extremely cheerful voice of his wife, clearly satisfied. "Did I wake you up?" "No, I was awake." "Good. I was a bit afraid of waking you up. I was talking to Lisa." "Who?" "Well, who, you spent the night with her," she replied with a laugh. "And she told me how you behaved. Now you're going to become a legend when she tells the others. They won't stop wanting a piece of you." "You're a lucky girl," he said in a grave, cold tone. "I know," she replied, with a note of a smile in her voice, seeming completely unaware of what she had caused. He listened to her and wondered if he had ever really known her. It was obvious she didn't know him as well as she thought. "But did you call just to tell me that?" "No, darling. I wanted to ask if you could come pick me up. That's not a good idea. I drank too much, and I'm not safe to drive right now, he said. Although it was true, it was only partially true. Why don't you ask your lover to bring you? I believe he wouldn't have any problem with that. There was a moment of silence. She registered the jab. You know, I didn't want to show up at home being brought by him. I understand. Being fucked by him is no problem, but getting a ride is complicated. He could almost feel her shrinking at hearing him. Don't be like that. I just didn't want it to be unpleasant for you. Don't you think it's a bit too late for that? Ask him to bring you or take a cab. It doesn't make a difference. He heard her talking away from the phone, asking if the other guy would give her a ride, and a distant male voice replied with something he couldn't distinguish. She spoke next, he'll take me. But he still wants to take a shower and eat, and we're about an hour from there, so I should only arrive around lunchtime. Okay, no problem. Then I'll see you, and wait for me. All of this has left me hungry for you. He remained silent, a strange silence. He sipped his coffee while waiting for her to say something more. She finally said, "See you later. I love you." He hung up without answering. He finished his coffee, and the phone rang again. He briefly thought it might be Marie again, but it was Paul. Hello? Alex, were you really serious a little while ago? Completely. Dude, the board is jumping for joy that you stepped up. They'll give you whatever you need. Do you really want to go today? As soon as possible. Well, I managed to get 2 tickets for a plane leaving in 2 hours, so you don't have much time to get to the airport. I only need 1. And Marie? Marie isn't going. And since we're talking about it, if anyone at the firm says where I've been transferred, I'll resign immediately. Paul was silent in shock. After a while, he finally said, I've got the ticket waiting for you. Thanks, Paul. He hung up, called a taxi that arrived in a few minutes, loaded the bags, and went back inside. He headed to the kitchen, left the car and house keys on the table, and was just about to leave when he looked at his left hand, turned back, took off the ring, placed it with the rest, and looking at the absence on his finger, he wondered for the first time if he was doing the right thing. But as all the memories of the previous night flooded back, deceit, disrespect, and betrayal, he sighed, shrugged in a gesture of resignation, and thought to himself, things are as they are. He took one last look around the house, walked to a frame with a photo of his children, took it with him, and left without looking back, leaving the door locked only on the latch as he drove off to the